Go.
Hello students, today I will be explaining the event of a trophic cascade. So just to define the term trophic cascade, a trophic cascade is when a trophic level on a food web is manipulated, such as a predator, and the impact will cascade down and affect the abundance of the lower levels, such as the primary producers. Trophic cascades can affect ecosystem processes, causing disease, increasing wildfires, influencing physical and chemical processes, and increasing the successfulness of invasive species. Today I will give an example of a trophic cascade in a marine ecosystem and terrestrial ecosystem. Let's start with a marine ecosystem. In coral reefs, there is a parrotfish that eats the algae off of coral. But the parrotfish gets predated by the moray eel. If someone was to come over and take away all the moray eels or reduce their population, then in turn the parrotfish will increase in abundance. You may see this as good because the parrotfish that were previously victims may now soar in number, but this is actually bad because of trophic cascades. Since the parrotfish are no longer predated, then the parrotfish will begin to consume all of the green algae until the number of green algae are low. The low number will have negative impacts because they'll be more vulnerable to disease and they'll be more vulnerable to extinction. The disease can easily infect smaller numbers than larger numbers, and also the disease does not have to worry about as much genetic material. Think of it as a flu shot. If every year almost every person gets a flu shot, then the flu sickness has to take time to find out how to penetrate every person with different vaccines. It is easier for illnesses or diseases to penetrate 100 similar individuals, or in this case green algae cells, than to penetrate and infect 1,000 mostly different individuals. In this example, you could see how losing the predator could be detrimental and cause disease for the primary producer. Now let's look at trophic cascades in a terrestrial ecosystem. One great example is the introduction of wolves into Yellowstone National Park. Before the introduction of wolves, the elk completely took over, causing a reduction in the abundance of grass and shrubland in the area due to grazing. So the high elk population caused a reduction in the grass and shrub abundance. Once the wolves were reintroduced, then the elk population was once again low, and the abundance of shrub and grassland in the area was high. Now that the plants are back in abundance, Yellowstone is beautiful, but once again, trophic cascades can have an impact on ecosystem processes. Since the plants are in abundance, the fuel load is quite high. A fuel load is the abundance of plants that can intensify and cause longevity of a fire. During a dry season, an area with a high abundance of plants will have more intense fires. Trophic cascades may seem complicated, but just understand it as a change in the abundance of organisms at one trophic level will cause a change in the abundance at other trophic levels.